You've got a relationship in your life that you probably don't pay much attention to, and that's your relationship with yourself. A lot of times we don't think about this, but it's absolutely core to everything that we do in our lives. Have you ever deceived yourself? Well, you took your relationship with yourself to a bad place because you weren't really thinking about it. I remember one of my friends and I was probably in third or fourth grade. We decided and convinced ourselves that it was a great idea for us to spray each other with water hoses while we were jumping on the trampoline. Now you may say, Reese, that's dumb. It is, but I didn't think it was dumb at the time. I thought it was a great idea. I had talked myself into doing this. I was like, let's go. Then I broke my arm a second time. And I was like, okay, there's a pattern here. I need to be a little bit more cautious about this area. I had deceived myself. I had just slowly convinced myself that something that wasn't good was good. You see, our relationship with ourself defines how we live our life. And boundaries, which are lines that we set with ourselves, can help us relate to ourselves better and make our lives more excellent. Let's talk about that today on the show. Hey guys, I am Reese Maxwell from Thriving Man Coaching, where our goal is to help you conquer your everyday chaos and build a thriving life. If you enjoy the content today, give it a like, share it with somebody that you think it would help. That always helps us get the word out to get more information to the people that it could benefit. There are two big struggles that we as men have that go back to our relationship with ourselves. And boundaries can help us with those things. Now you may say, Reese, what is a boundary? We talked about it last week on the show, but just a little recap. Boundaries are almost like a line in the sand where you say, I will go here and I won't go here. When you set these boundaries, it not only helps your relationships, which is kind of intuitive, with others, it helps you in your relationship with yourself. Have you ever had a struggle where you've got something that you're doing that you know is not good for you, but you keep going back to it? Man, I've been there. Sometimes it's chill stuff that's like, I just eat this thing where I shouldn't eat it. But sometimes it can be an addiction. Sometimes it can be something that's really damaging. And we know up here that it's not good for us, but in here, we want to keep going back to it. It's like that self-struggle. And boundaries help with that. That's the first point of this whole thing. Boundaries help protect you from your lower nature. Something that I thought of a few years ago that has always stuck in my mind is it's like we've got two people on the inside of us. We've got this responsible adult that wants to live well. And then we've got this like little toddler who's just constantly like wanting stuff 24/7. And those two sides of us are warring. We've got the side that wants to do right, and then we've got the side that just wants to do what it wants. Well, yeah, I know I need to work out, but I also just want to sit here and eat potato chips. Or for me, I love Bluebell ice cream. I've got the side of me that's like, I shouldn't buy that. First of all, I don't have the money to, but second, it's not good for me. And then there's the side that just wants to buy 4 half gallons. You can relate to me, right? You want to buy 4 half gallons of Bluebell and eat it all. It's delicious. The Bible refers to this as the spirit and the flesh. The spirit knows what's right and wants to live right, but the flesh just wants to do what's pleasurable in the moment, even if it's damaging. It's the flesh that takes us through that slow fade, that slow downgrade process. I don't know if you've ever had a moment where you end up at a place in life and you look up and you say, how did I end up here? I never thought I'd go this far. Well, that's because you didn't have a boundary with yourself. Whenever you set boundaries with yourself, it helps to see the lines that you don't realize you're crossing if they're not there. It helps you to see like, this habit's becoming an addiction because I said I was only going to do it this often, but now I'm doing it this often. Or Like if you're a person that is dealing with maybe an unhealthy dynamic with your friends, and you're like, ooh, I said I wouldn't go out with the boys because I always end up drinking and I don't want to do that, but I keep going back and doing it, right? When you have the boundary, you see that you're crossing it. But if you don't have that boundary, then you're just doing whatever, and you can quickly end up in a place that you don't want to be. Boundaries help protect you from that lower nature that wants to do what's good in the moment, but damaging in the long term. But it doesn't just help with that. I don't know if you've ever had this moment where you say, well, I'm not destroying my life right now. I just don't feel like I'm reaching my potential. Boundaries help with that too. In fact, boundaries help you to discover your best self. They help you to reveal your best self. Have you ever had a great coach or teacher that they were hard on you, but the way that they were hard brought out the best in you? Maybe as an athlete, you never thought you could run that fast, but they challenged you and then you did it. You never thought you could get that time on that sprint, but they challenged you and you did it. Even when it comes to intellectual stuff, I had a teacher in like my senior year of high school, and it was my English comp teacher. She was brutal. Like if you make one big error, 10 points off your paper. I mean, this is a 5-page paper, one error. She classified as a big one, 10 points off. 3 small errors, boom, 10 more points off. She said, guys, half of y'all are not going to pass this class. I was out of town when she gave that speech, so I didn't know. But it ended up being good for me because I really had to dial in on my English ability. And I ended up getting a far better grade on the ACT because my English scores went up so high because that teacher pushed me. Boundaries are like a good coach or a good teacher. Boundaries are a way to push you to go beyond what you feel like doing. If you go by what you feel like doing, you will never reach your potential. If you follow the feelings, that little toddler inside, you're never going to get to a point where you're living a life you can be proud of. Boundaries help you push yourself because you've got this line, not that you're trying to avoid, but that you're trying to go for. So it's a key thing to have for the good side of things, and it raises your confidence. If you say, I just don't have a lot of self-confidence, I don't have a lot of self-respect, I would challenge you to examine your life and say, do I actually keep the boundaries I say I'm going to keep? And if the answer is no, that's probably part of the reason you don't have a ton of self-respect. If you want to gain respect for yourself, it's earned. Now, self-love is given. That's unconditional. But self-respect is earned through your actions. If I say I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That integrity bolsters your self-confidence and your self-respect. And it's important for you becoming your best self. So you say, Reese, how do I start to do this in my life? How can I begin to relate to myself better through boundaries? I want to ask you 2 core questions. And I would challenge you, think about these questions and write them down. Question 1. What boundaries would prevent the worst in me? If I have a bad habit, something that I just know is not the best for me even, what are some boundaries I could set in place to be able to prevent that from sabotaging my life? I'll give you a neutral example from my own life. I remember at the beginning of last year, I realized I was watching way too much anime. I love anime. I've got this Naruto shirt on. But I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually spending way more time watching these TV shows than I actually am living my life in the evenings. Like I need to put some boundaries on this. So I had a season where my challenge to myself is for the next 6 months, I'm only going to watch anime on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, not watching it at all. And it was a challenge, to be honest. It sounds ridiculous, but it was. And it helped me to develop some self-discipline, to be able to say, no, now's not the time, and not watch it. Another question I want to ask you is, what boundaries will bring out the best in me? What boundaries will bring out the best in me? Think from the perspective of a coach. Like if you were with me in the room and I was doing life coaching for you and I wanted to help you reach your potential, what would I challenge you to do? Is it a physical habit? Is it a spiritual habit? Maybe a mental and emotional way of thinking that needs to be optimized in your life? When you take that from just a vague idea and actually write it down, make that line in the sand, then all of a sudden you're empowered to live differently and know the difference between success and failure. It's an important thing to do. It's key to not only avoiding the bad, but living out the good. That's how you can relate to yourself better. Establish some of those boundaries. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Thriving Man Podcast. If you want to check out more resources from David and Reese, you can go to thrivingman.com. We'll see you in the next episode.